Well, hello. This is Mr. Farrow, and this is a lesson video for February 25th. And today is this is seventh grade, and we are working on Unit 5, Rational Number Arithmetic. Lesson 5, Adding and Subtracting Signed Numbers, Positive and Negative Numbers. Part 2, we're going to continue on with this one. Our focus today is let's continue exploring how to add and subtract positive and negative numbers. So here we have our vocabulary right here. So you should be taking notes on this because you're expected to complete the guided notes in Schoology, and you'll have to provide some of this information there. So name, date, and period, and then vocabulary. Deposit, which is a positive number. That's why I have it plus there in parentheses. Withdrawal is a negative number, and also debt is a negative number. Even though I did not provide the definition for debt in here, I just wanted to include it because we will be talking about it here very soon. And additive inverse. And I also put for example there. So, wait a minute on that example. I just realized I made a mistake. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, that's better. So, stop the video at this time and make sure you write down these definitions in your notebook. Okay, we're back. So let's review the definitions. Deposit is when you put money into an account. It's called a deposit. It's a positive amount. And a withdrawal is when you take money out of an account. Now, a debt is when you borrow money. And a lot of you might be familiar with that term. Maybe your parents have the car loans or mortgage on the home or credit cards payments. Those are all debt, and that's considered a negative. Additive inverse is what we've been talking about before, a number added to a certain number which results in zero. This number is known as its opposite. The example I gave there is a positive 3 plus a negative 3 would equal 0. Now, so what we're going to do first today is we're going to there's your opener that we had in class, and I would like to refer you to remember that there is a Nearpod lesson you can go to work on these also. So I'm including this one because just as a kind of explanation. What's the result, positive or negative answers? And what I was looking for in this opener was not the solution to this equation, but just would the solution be a positive amount or a negative amount? And so that's what our focus is of this lesson today. So go to Nearpod 2 and just work this activity. That way I can register that you did it. And so, but let's just move on to the lesson and I'll explain, and maybe we'll come back to this and we can kind of go through this opener later on. Okay, so our first stop today is just talking about reviewing number lines revisited and when a negative is not a negative. And basically this refers to rule number 1 and rule number 2 that we did last week concerning from the Math Antics video. But let's use this number line to find the sum of negative 7 plus 2. Now, I want you to draw the purple number line here is just for you to so that's something you could do very easily. And then you can just, put your tick marks on it. And I'll show you how we use a number line to help us solve this problem. So we have negative 7, we have a negative plus a positive. So what do you think, first of all, what do you think the answer might be? Would the final sum be a positive or a negative? I think it's going to be a negative, but we'll see. So I start off with negative 7, and I'm adding a positive 2 to it. And just so you to remember, positive numbers are going to the right of 0, and negative numbers go to the left of 0. So that's what we'll be doing. So when you're using a number line, you can use a number line like this for any amount, really, when you're dealing with positive and negative numbers. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here at negative 7, and I'm going to the right 2 places, 1, 2, which would be a negative 5. So the answer to this would be a negative 5, because I'm moving the decimal point in the direction that of its positive or its negative, whatever side it is. So let's do another one. Use the number line to find the difference. Excuse me. 1 minus 10. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite that as addition problem, because the rule said I can go 1. If I'm subtracting a positive, it's like adding a negative. So it's going to be 1 plus negative 10. And again, draw a number line. Put in your hash marks there. And put a few in there. There we go. So again, we'll start with the amount that we give us. They give us 1 right there. So, and then I'm going to go negative 10. Well, negative is on the left-hand side of the 0. So I'm going to count back 10 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the answer would be negative 9. So that's how we use number lines, and that's how we're able to prove that, okay, how are we getting these sums? So that's what we covered last week, but I just wanted to cover that again because some students have been having some trouble with it. So today, what we're going to be focusing on is looking at the whole numbers and saying what's in a sign. Now, as I told you in the opener, we covered in the opener, we didn't do it here in this video lesson, but I hope you did take a moment and think about that. But for example, here, what's the answer going to be? When you're dealing with positive and negative numbers, it's nice to have an idea of what the final answer is going to be. Well, here we have a positive, plus, and negative. Well, when you have a positive, and a negative combined like that, either subtract or in addition, you can look now at the numbers and decide what the final sign is going to be. Like, for example, you look at 19 and 13. You don't worry about the sign right now. Just kind of follow me. So we look at these numbers, compare them, and we know that 19 is greater than 13. So that means that the final answer is actually going to be positive because there are more positive units. If we were on a number line, there are more positive units on the right-hand side than there are negative units. So we'd start at 19 and then count our way back 13 spaces, and we get a positive 6 because 13 plus 6 is 19, of course. Now, in this instance here, we have a positive plus a positive. And whenever you have the same sign being added together, the answer will be that same sign. So it's going to be positive. And that one, of course, is 19. Let's work on this one. Here we have a negative plus a negative. Well, then, same sign again. I know it's going to be a negative. And then, therefore, all I have to do is add 2 and 20, and I get 22 for the final answer of negative 22. And then again, this one, we have a negative plus a negative. 9 plus 14, negative 23. So let's take on some more complicated problems now. Now here we have a negative, we are subtracting a negative, and the rule says that when you subtract a negative, it's like adding a positive. So this would be a negative. This will become a positive, which is negative 19 plus 7. So again, what's my final answer going to be? Well, 19 is greater than 7, so I'm going to have more on the negative side of 0 than the positive side of 0. So my answer will be negative. So if I have negative 19 plus a positive 7 would equal a negative 12. So once again, when you take a negative, subtract a negative, it's like adding a positive. And you'll notice what I've been doing is I'm turning all of these into addition problems because for the most part, addition is usually easier for people than subtraction. So here I have negative 6 minus 13. Well, again, when you subtract a positive like this, it's like adding a negative. So I have a negative plus a negative. That means the answer will be negative. So now I just got to add 6 and 13 for negative 19. So I hope you're starting to see the pattern here. You use those two rules to help you kind of see where you're going. Now here I'm subtracting a negative again. What do? Just like we did up here in this problem. We go for a positive plus, and remember, you subtract a negative, it's like adding its positive. 16, which would of course equal 20. Same thing over in this one. Negative 18. And then you subtract a negative, it's going to be like adding a positive. Now, here we have a negative. Sorry, that was a pretty poor negative minus sign there. We have a negative and a positive. So compare the numbers. 18, of course, is greater than 2, so our answer is going to be negative. And then negative 18, again, visualize a number line. Negative 18 on your left, you're counting back 2 places to the right because it's a positive 2. That would take you to negative 16. And this is what the quizzes this week is about. So if you took the quiz and you got less than 75%, I'm asking you to go back and try it again after you watch this lesson video, because I believe you'll do a much better job. Okay, well, that's it for this lesson video. And their homework assignment features problems like this, as well as some additive inverse problems too. So make sure you take the time to do that and get the weekly quiz done also, because the deadline for that is Saturday. And just if you have questions, please email me, and I'll look forward to seeing you in class. Thank you.